The U.S. government and many of the states are building these huge, massive sewage storage tunnels, like in Washington, D.C., and in New York City and Chicago. These huge, massive sewage storage tunnels. Now, the reason they're building these storage tunnels for all this virus-laden shit is because usually they dump it all in the environment, right into the rivers and the creeks, and they dump it down at the estuaries that lead into the oceans, like New York Harbor. New York Harbor is just absolutely full of sewage from Donald Trump's and all of his pals, all of his buddies' buildings. And Washington, D.C. is just a huge shithole too. Right, Donald Trump? Come on, buddy, you're the real estate developer. Why don't you explain the massive sewage crisis that the United States has to the world? What, are you afraid you'll lose all the tourist money? Yeah. And, the real estate developers, they might have to get, charged to deal properly with their sewage? Interesting. So, Mr. Trump, all those big buildings like the Commodore Hotel that you got involved in to save New York City. You didn't get in the Commodore to save New York City. You got into the Commodore project to stuff your pockets, Donald Trump, you and your father. And Ivana. All it was a big make the Trumps rich scheme and get a 40-year tax abatement. 40 years. No taxes on one of the most valuable pieces of real estate in New York City. Isn't that just freaking amazing? 40 years, a free ride, right, Donald Trump? Yeah. Oh, we're going to save New York City with your Commodore remodeling. What'd you do with all the sewage from the Commodore, Donald Trump, all these years? Has the Commodore been dumping all of its sewage into New York Harbor like all your other buildings? So in the middle of this pandemic, everybody, of the one virus that everybody's so deathly afraid of, the one virus, let's talk about the millions of viruses being spewed everywhere by the government sewage systems. Like the Sanford Federal Courthouse in Raleigh, North Carolina. Right, Judge Terrence W. Boyle and Judge Williams, the big sewage spewing fiasco at the Sanford Federal Courthouse in Raleigh, where they've been dumping their sewage in Walnut Creek for 50 years. Right into the freaking working class, the underprivileged, what would you call it there? Oh yeah, the poor neighborhood down southeast of Raleigh in Cary. Right down Walnut Creek. That's where they flush the sewage from the Sanford Federal Courthouse. Right, Judge Terrence Boyle? Judge Williams? Come on, tell everybody, Judge Williams, about how all the federal judges shit and piss right into the creek with the marshals and the FBI and everybody that works at the Sanford Federal Courthouse been shitting and pissing right into Walnut Creek for 5 decades. 5 decades. Yeah, no conflicts of interest there, right, Judge Williams? No problem, right? Judge Terrence W. Boyle just shit in the creek left and right. Just like they do up in New York. Terrence W. Boyle. Ladies and gentlemen, all you got to do is do a little research on sewage storage tunnels and ask yourself, is the sewage overflow, the sewage overflow scandal in America the reason they're building these massive sewage storage tunnels? Well, there's a concept. Why would they build those great big huge shit storing tunnels, Donald Trump? Because they're dumping tons of shit all over the landscape in America during a pandemic? Why don't you ask Dr. Fauci to explain that one with your Centers for Disease Control and the World Health Organization? You can tell the world about America's massive shit dumping scandal. All right, at the Sanford Federal Courthouse in Raleigh, North Carolina. Ladies and gentlemen, do a little research, try to wake up and realize one thing. The government is feeding the pandemic because guess what's in sewage? COVIDs. All the COVIDs are in sewage and they're dumping it all over the freaking place. Have a wonderful day.